Hi and welcome to this Yenlo webinar. Today I'm going to talk about the union of possibilities between API management, integration, identity and access management. It's all about the vision and the trends for the coming years. And whom better I could invite for this webinar than Asanka. Asanka is the CTO of WSO2 and one of the leading experts in this area. So I would like to welcome Asanka. Asanka, welcome. Maybe you can first introduce yourself a little bit to the audience and then we take it from there.
Thanks, Ruben. And it's a pleasure for me to be in this interview with you. We know each other for a decade now. To give a quick introduction about myself, I'm coming from application architecture and application engineering background. Been in the industry for more than 20 years and with WSO2 for more than 15 years now. So I was heading the solutions architecture team at WSO2 for more than 10 years actually.
Oh, wow.
And then switched my career into the CTO space and now working as the CTO. And before that, I held the chief evangelist role, spreading the WSO2 story internally as well as externally.
Well, that sounds awesome. And to me, that sounds you are the right guy for this interview. So thanks for that introduction. And I think it's a great experience you bring to the table. And let's talk a little bit about that experience. And I don't want to go back 20 years, but let's go back for 10 years of your time and experience in this area. Today, I want to talk about API integration and on the other side, identity and access management, right? Both areas which are very familiar to you. But before we dive into the trends and the vision and the future for the next coming years, let's step back a little bit for the past 10 years. So can you briefly summarize what happened in the past 10 years with those two areas?
Yeah, I think so. The distributed computing technologies started changing. And then the complexity of these technologies affected the organizations a lot, and they stuck with how they can deliver application software. So that's where the middleware came into the picture. And then we had different type of middleware because the service-oriented architecture created a lot of requirements, and with that we identified many middleware in the space, right? But then again, some stuff happened parallelly. People started looking at how they can start delivering more business value rather than like dig in these technology stuff. So that's where the cloud computing came into the picture, and then middleware started changing with cloud computing, as well as how we can simplify creation of business application was the main goal inside every organization. So with that, people identify what are the core technologies required to build these applications, and API management integration and the identity and access management became very vital. So if we take a look at what really happened from the business point of view, organizations went through these three phases: digitization, digitalization, and digital transformation. So digitization is basically how you are moving from physical into digital. So you get the system of record layers and start moving your physical operations into digital. But it wasn't enough for organization to operate, and they needed a holistic view of what's really happening inside the entire business, right? So that's where the digitization came and started connecting these systems. So integration became a vital role there. And then after connecting systems, then people wanted to build applications internally as well as externally.
And expose them externally, yes.
Exactly. So so that's where API management came, how you can expose these business capabilities in a very common way, or a way that the application developers can understand and build these applications. Now you are exposing your business capabilities via APIs, so you need to secure them. So that's where the identity and access management
Came
came a
into
vital
play.
part. Exactly. So how you can secure these data inside the
I think a
organizations.
lot of
That's why, yeah, sorry.
yeah, and I think a lot of companies actually forgot a little bit about that area. You know, when you talk about identity and access management, people quite often think about authorization and authentication to applications, but everybody forgets the API space, in my belief. And W2 and Yenlo, we conducted hundreds of projects, and now I don't want to say each and any time, but quite often people were talking about API management, but completely forgot about the authorization of those APIs. And people didn't understand in the beginning the relationship between API management and identity management. So sorry to interrupt you, but I fully recognize what you say here.
Yeah, you are spot on, Ruben, because people don't think it in that way. And I think it has to be a thought that should come at the design level, not an afterthought that
Absolutely.
they bring it after implementing this stuff. Because if there's a security breach happens, then it's going to cause a lot, right, in today's dynamics. So that's why I think they had to focus on all these three areas equally, and then have expertise as well as make these part of their enterprise architecture.
And honestly speaking, jump a little bit to today. I don't know about you, but I think we all saw quite a lot of breaches with a couple of technology vendors lately, where you suddenly see how important identity and access management actually is, right? So there are many bad examples, so to speak. Exactly. I like the fact that you split the digitalization and all the way to the digital transformation, because a lot of people talk about digital transformation, but they are forgetting that there was an area before the digital transformation. It was the digitalization. So I like that split from you. But in the same time, I think that's a quite good summary of the past 10 years, what happened with service-oriented architecture and maybe later on event-driven architecture, of which we are quite a fan actually. But I've also got the feeling that's a little bit behind us. Everybody is, first we talked all about it, then everybody did it, and now more or less people or companies reinvented themselves, and let's label that as the digital transformation, right?
Yep.
So I also got the impression that now we are at a flipping point or the start point of a new area. So everything what's next, what's after the digital transformation. Do you have the same experience or the same feeling what's going on? And if so, can you explain a bit what does customers drive actually in that new area, in which, in my opinion, we are in the front stage, in the first area?
Yes.
So I think your experience here?
It's a continuous improvement, right? So
absolutely.
What we are here today is about experience economy, because digital transformation resulting experiences, a digital experience. I think pandemic gave us a really good kind of hint on how digital and what digital is and how it is important that we can't survive without digital is the lesson that we learned, right? So everybody's expecting that digital experience, and everybody deserves to have this digital experience as well, because devices and power of network is getting strengthened, right? Everywhere you get connectivity, and everybody has a device now. So with that, they are looking for this digital experience, and the competitive advantage for an organization coming from the digital experience that they are providing. I think that's where I think the Microsoft head of Microsoft quote this thing: every company is a software company, regardless of the domain where they are, because you have to.
Yeah, that was a long time ago, right? That quote. I remember that quote actually.
Exactly. Because you have to have a powerful software to deliver these digital transformations. And then the experience economy, personally, I believe move into a more value economy, because now the experiences are providing, but you need to provide value for your employees, your customers, and then the shareholders of the organization, right? So digital transformation and digital experiences are helping to improve the productivity internally, as well as providing a great digital experience for the your customers and keep them and bring more and more customers into the service or the product that you are providing. And as a result, it's providing more value for the shareholders of the organization.
I
So
like I like this angle. Yeah. So the next thing is the digital experience, and gain more value or add more value for your customers and stakeholders and shareholders and so on. I like that. But today it's all about the harmonization or the union of possibilities between APIs or integration and identity and access management. So talking about that digital experience and talking about that added value, and maybe this is a little bit hard because you and I, we are technical guys in the end, but how does this affect, in your opinion, generic speaking, how does this actually affect the API/integration and on the other side, the identity and access management landscape, and then in terms of software solutions? So this digital experience, how does it influence the products we know now these days?
Yeah, so so that's where I think as a architect or an engineer, you have to have an outside-in approach for the software that you are building, because a piece of software that you write, if it is not useful for the market, there's no point, right? So when you do that, so that's where the business connect with the technology. Now, earlier days, technology groups just provided technology and business groups used it. But now it's not like that. I would say the business is a dog and the technology is a dog's tail, because you have to shake based on what the business thinks, right? So you need to get more and more input from the business side, and then carve out these digital experiences based on what the market is looking for and the business models these business groups are implementing. So that's where the connection comes. And specifically these three technologies, why they are a key part of the business side, because you need to have a foundation. Because the foundation is the most important thing to have a credible system or a building even, right? So the foundation built on top of these three technologies, and if an organization looking at it that way, like getting the integrations done, exposing the integrations and the business capabilities as APIs, and then secure them, then you have the foundation. And another analogy for this, Ruben, is core and the context. So you need to have a core.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Core and the context.
Okay.
The core is basically the APIs, integrations, and identity and access management. You build that digital core. Once you do that, you can bring this other stuff around the core. As example, web applications, mobile applications, and then IoT applications like that.
Everything else.
That to expose the experiences, right? And not only that, with this AI-driven and with the AI bus that we can hear, you can even link this stuff into large language models, generative AI stuff. So the the opportunities are immense once you get the core, and that's why the organization should focus on these three technologies and get the foundation done properly for them to face these challenges and keep on providing experiences to their end users.
And in your opinion, that foundation, right? Does that consist always about the API integration part and the identity part, or can you see that as different foundations, or is it actually one?
So I think it's depending on how the organization organized, right? In some larger enterprises, I see these three things handled by three different groups. It's perfectly fine. But there should be a proper synergy. If you have these three different groups, and there should be an overarching enterprise architecture that should connect these three things and provide a holistic view. But in some organizations, like all these things are working together as a digital core or a digital transformation team or an enterprise architecture team like that. So it depending on how they have organized these things. But only thing, it has to communicate properly, and that's where the marketplaces kind of concepts are helping on how you can share these capabilities and how you can advertise these capabilities and let the people to discover and consume these capabilities within the organization.
Maybe an obvious answer, but well, in the end, you are the CTO of WSO2, so let's bring it to the table, right? Of course, WSO2 has got a solution here, and of course, for many years, WSO2 is known for the great products on API management, integration, and identity management. So that's a no-brainer. But regarding the new digital experience and adding additional value, the question is, how does WSO2 evolve, or how is WSO2 translate this market trend and translate this customer need into the new product stack? So what is WSO2 actually doing currently to address this new area?
Yeah, so like as you know, like we started the organization in 2005 when service-oriented architecture was the main driving force, and we architected and developed the products based on that. But then again, we didn't stop there. We were keep on improving the product stack based on the business needs that we hear from customers and partners like you, as well as industry analysts, and then brought capabilities into the product stack. And number two, we did, what are the changes happening in the technology? Because it has to be valuable for today as well as it has to be valuable for future. Because if somebody is doing some investment on the tech, they will at least look for another 5 to 10 years, right? So we need to make sure that they can build applications and be competitive for their within their competitors, as well as provide value for their end users by leveraging the product stack. So that's where like we were keep on improving the products, and then we were doing some experiments at the R&D level, and then bringing those capabilities into the product stack, and then having various channels to get feedback about the usage of the product, and then how we can improve the user experiences. And the performance is key in this particular area, because anyway, the products that we provide come in between the system of record layers and the application layers, right? So how we can minimize the latency, how we can improve the throughput, all these things we considered, and that's why you see that frequent releases that we provided, and introducing new products happened during last decade as well, specifically due to these market changes and the technology changes.
You mentioned many interesting things, but one particular thing, it's really interesting to me, and I think to all our viewers. You mentioned performance. Yeah. And that's a very typical one, because in my belief and experience as well, having this new digital transformation to digital experience, it means more and more and more and more in terms of transactions, in terms of logins, in terms of identities, and so on, right? And it means a lot more. We're not talking about just a couple of APIs, we're talking about thousands of APIs or even more, right? And you particularly said we focus on performance, or that is a big thing inside the R&D team of WSO2, right? Can you elaborate a little bit on that topic? Because I think many customers of our customers are really interested in the performance question, to be honest.
Yeah, I think there are a bunch of things that we need to consider there. One, hardware is cheap these days, as well as hardware is getting improved day by day, right? So that is happening on the one side. And then the cloud computing is improving day by day. You can find a lot of improvements there as well. So how we can capitalize on those and bring those capabilities into the products that we provide is where we are mainly focusing on. And then again, a simple piece of code that we write, how we can improve the performance, and by utilizing the cloud computing technologies and the improved hardware stuff, how you can parallelly process stuff and use various these type of technologies to improve the performance. Because the end of the day, Ruben, the application consumers are not patient, right? They need to get a response as soon as possible. And if we put our hat as a consumer, then we will not wait, right? As example, if you want to go on a vacation and if you are getting into a booking system, if you are not getting the response, you will shut down that browser window and then log into another.
You need an answer in seconds, milliseconds. Absolutely.
Exactly. Let's so that's what we had to keep in mind.
Yeah, I know, and again, I want to address this point because I know we have a lot of customers on enterprise level, on small, medium enterprise, but also on high-end enterprise level. And to make it very clear that W2 is capable of handling millions and millions and millions of transactions, right, per day or whatever. And I think combined, we have a lot of customers with ease, 80 million, 90 million of users logging in their systems, 80 million on a daily basis. So I think the performance will increase, or the mass will increase, and by that performance is really important.
Yes, and I think we can add one more thing to that point, Ruben, from the user's point of view, because if the performance is high, they don't need many instances running, right? And that will save a lot of cost for them from two points of view. One is from the product point of view, and the other point is the hardware point of view. So that's another advantage people get when they have a high performance system up and running.
Hey, Asanka, thanks for sharing this part so far. To summarize so far, so the answer from W2 to the digital experience, it's all about changing or evolving the products more from a business perspective rather than from a technology perspective. I know that you are changing, very pragmatical, you're changing your user interface, you're adding IAM and all kinds of functionality, I know that.
Yep.
That are the great stories. And now we have to be honest to our viewers as well. And maybe it's a difficult topic, but in which area W2 is maybe not the best fit for a customer or is not the best answer to a certain problem? Can you briefly touch that? I know it's awesome, but you won't have a 10 out of 10 probably. So in which area W2 is maybe not the best fit?
Yeah, I think as you said, it's a difficult question to answer because since we use open standards and then we are creating these great abstraction layers and simplifying the problem, most of the organizations, regardless of their business domain, can benefit. I think one area that people will not much benefit is if somebody is looking for more drag and drop and then more citizen integrated type of an experience, then that's not the WSO2 audience, because we are looking at to solve hard problems within the organizations. When you try to resolve hard problems, then you need to put some effort. And our main target audience is application developers who write code and then do some configuration and build this integration, not that just drag and drop and build integrations, APIs, or identity and access management solutions. So I think that is the only area that we are not targeting, and if somebody's looking at it and try to leverage a product stack, we might be not the correct answer for them. We are trying our best to simplify the problem, but reality of the enterprises is not that simple as we see.
Thank you for this honest answer. However, maybe I have to defend you /W2 a little bit here, because I think where W2 is heading with their new product stack, Choreo and Ascardio, I think you're trying to address this step by step as well, right? So yes, you have still a strong focus on the developer community, but on the other hand, you're also moving a little bit towards that, a little bit more to the drag and drop and a little bit more to the business side with the new product stack, to be honest. And I think that's also a path and a journey W2 is heading to. Can you confirm or deny?
Yeah, as I said, like we are trying our best. But then again, the definition of a citizen developer can be differ from organization to organization. So we are in the process of bringing more and more tooling. Even the language we have for integration called Ballerina, we are building many tools. As an example, last year we released something called a data mapper. Without getting into coding, you can have your source data set, and then you can have your destination data set defined, and you can drag and drop and create this awesome data mapper. Like that, there are tools and things that we are bringing, and even Ballerina is based on control flows, and we are looking at bringing a data flow based integration capability on top of that, kind of another abstraction layer and more visual tooling. Yes, we are trying our best on
I know. And you're doing a great job. Hey, we are at the last couple of minutes, and I think a great story from the past. Where are we now and where are we heading? But I can imagine that our viewers are listening in and think, okay, but where to start? I invested money, I invested time, I invested in knowledge to get me to the digital transformation. I hear you about the new area, the new digital experience area. So what can you give to our viewers about how to start, or your recommendations to get started on this new path to the future?
Yeah, I think it's mainly about the mindset of the technical leaders in that particular organization, right? They have to clearly identify what's the experience that they are trying to provide or they are willing to provide for their end users, and then start small and start building these applications and identify the correct tool set. I think that's where, as an organization, WSO2 can help a lot by simplifying that complexity and hiding the entire complexity from the technology point of view and let them to mainly focusing on the application side. So once they do that, then I think it has to be a very iterative process that get the feedback from the end users and keep on evolving and be iterative and deliver these products. So that's another thing. And then I explain about the outside-in approach because sometimes as technical groups, we like to build stuff that we like to do, but it should be not that way. You have to look at what the end users are looking at, what's the business wants, and what are the priorities, and based on that do a reverse engineering. So that's where the outside in approach coming, get those requirements and start building a software product. So I think you opened up me to discuss about how we can simplify and expedite this process and how to start. The concept of platforms are coming and affecting a lot because having a clean platform will hide the complexity. And most of the organizations are trying to build platforms as well. And it's not an easy task, and we have identified that exactly by helping other organizations as well as building our own platform. So with that, we came up with this new concept. Actually, last Monday, we released this new concept called platformless. I think everybody familiar with serverless.
Oh, I'm curious now.
Yeah.
You're challenging me as well now because, well, you know that we as Yenlo, we have our Connect platform.
Yep.
And maybe a spoiler alert, but we are also in discussion to transform it more and more and integrate it a little bit more with Choreo. So, but platformless, that's a new one. We will dive into that. Asanka, that brings me actually to the end of this webinar. And as a friend, a partner, and a colleague, I would like to thank you. It was a pleasure having you on this webinar. So thank you so much. And let's make a deal with each other. Let's do this interview again in, let's say, 2 years' time, when all our customers, or at least 60% of our customers, are on that new journey. And I think to all our viewers, it's important what you said. So it's just a mindset. The tools are there, the people are there, the companies are there. It's just a mindset to get to this new area. So thank you so much. And let's do this over in 2 years' time. And we look what we achieved in 2 years.
Thanks, Ruben. And it was a great conversation with you, with your vast knowledge in the market, as well as specifically in these 3 technology areas. And yeah, I too looking forward to have the next conversation with you, so we can look at what we predict and what we thought and how it is really applying in the industry and how the industry is benefiting from those areas that we discussed.
So thank you for watching, and hopefully we see you soon in one of our other webinars. If you have any questions regarding API management, integration, or identity and access management, please contact us through the usual channels. Thank you and cheers.